wherever you may be located in this global space. Today, barely 24 hours, in fact, less than 24 hours to inauguration across the length and breadth of Nigeria. We'll be inaugurating 28 governors, some re-elected January in Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That will mark the exit of Muhammadu Buhari, a Major General who was elected in 2015, and he did a two terms of 8 years in office. Well, as Muhammadu Buhari exits, we say, well, God be with you. And as Bola Ahmed Tinubu moves into office, there are hopes, there are desires, and there are, of course, anxieties and fears, which are, of course, legitimate. As a Nigerian, as a patriotic citizen of this country, of course, I am optimistic, but my optimism is what I define as cautious optimism. Because we know where the seriously optimistic mood of 2015, we know where it has brought us in 8 years. Yes, as Muhammadu Buhari departs, there was a broadcast this morning to Nigerians. And in this national broadcast before heading home to Dar after 8 years, the story all over the place is that Muhammadu Buhari apologized. But he says, I'm leaving Nigeria better than I met it in 2015. I'll do a little bit of review of that speech, farewell speech, as it were. But I must inform you that we have a guest with us in the studio this afternoon. Of course, is the one that everybody calls Bibire. Yes, of course, you know him. He is called Bibire. He is not a stranger in Nigeria, in Oyo State's political space. Abayomi Fagbenro. He is a political actor. He, of course, has supported his PDP's nomination to the House of Reps. But, of course, he did not win, but very much active in the political space. Yes, back to this farewell speech of Muhammadu Buhari as he left office. So our guest will be joining us live, will be with us live in the studio as we review the last 4 years, the last 8 years, and the hopes of the years to come. Buhari said, in the course of revamping the economy, we made some difficult choices, most of which yielded the desired results. Some of the measures led to temporary pain and suffering, which I sincerely apologize to my fellow countrymen. But the measures were taken for the overall good of the country. Noting what he called Nigeria's overwhelming support for him, President Buhari remarked that he said he did never intended just to be politically correct, but do the correct things. Of all the needed things to have done in those 8 years was probably the issue of fuel subsidy. When Muhammadu Buhari was campaigning for office, he told us that subsidy was actually a scam. But as he leaves office today, Nigeria's budget accommodates 7 trillion naira annual budget. Yes, 7 trillion naira out of a 22 trillion naira budget. 7 trillion is subsidy on PMS. Yet, he told us in 2014-15 that subsidy is a scam. And amazingly, what did he not do in 8 years? He chose to impose it on an incoming administration. went ahead, took 800 million US dollars to be distributed to subsidize, well, we said 60 million people, 10 million households, will be distributed at 5,000 naira over a period of 6 months, monthly, which in itself does not tally. And the date set for the removal of subsidy by the outgoing administration is the 1st of June, 3 days after he will have left office. What was he doing? What was he thinking in those 8 years that he did not deem it fit to tackle this issue, but rather impose the solution, his own solution, on an incoming administration? El-Rufai, the outgoing governor of Kaduna State, an ally, a political ally of the outgoing president, said that a committee was set up regarding the issue of subsidy. And that committee recommended the removal of subsidy, and of course recommended an approach which will mean provision before prohibition, which will mean some provisions to cushion the effect of the removal. Of course, when you pull subsidy off, you're saving 7 trillion naira. And of course, you can now deploy the 7 trillion naira in some provisions in terms of infrastructure, transport infrastructure, maybe improve roads, maybe some public transportation, and maybe the word, I don't like that word, palliative, because palliative means somebody applying some remedial measures to somebody that is about to die. But that word politicians have introduced into the Nigeria's political lexicon. Palliative, palliative. Are Nigerians about to die that they are offering them palliative? That is one question we have to ask. And I will ask the politician that is coming in, what does palliative mean? So, they recommended governors, technocrats, including labor and the business, they recommended that subsidy should be removed because it had become an albatross. He said the report lies somewhere in the presidency. The president said, Muhammad Buhari said, he was not going to remove subsidy. Subsidy, as he said, it was a scam, and subsidy now is taking a decision on behalf of the incoming administration after being in 8 years. And he says he is leaving Nigeria a better place. And he says he was addressing Nigerians with a deep sense of gratitude to God, a great deal of appreciation to the Nigerian people, and a modest sense of fulfillment. Generally, when presidents leave office or are leaving office, of course, they will highlight. I remember when Obasanjo was leaving as a military head of state and handed over to Shehu Shagari, I remember he rounded off that speech after highlighting what the military administration had put in place and signposting the future of Nigeria. He boldly said, on the basis of what was in place and what could be done with what Nigeria had, that Nigeria should be amongst the first 20 in global rankings in 25 years after, in a few years after he left office. Of course, those chest thumping was based on the fact that we had steel mills, we had steel rolling mills, machine tools, we had crude that was flowing, and of course it was solid in the international market. We also had solid currency in the naira then. Of course, at that time, 1979, a dollar was selling for 70 kobo. That same dollar exchanged for 700 and something naira now. So on that basis, Obasanjo did that chest thumping. Of course, when the politicians took over, we know what happened until Buhari came in 1983, December 31st. Now, as the president goes, I will not be particularly interested in hammering him because history is out there. Someone tells me there are three judgments: the judgment of man, the judgment of history, and the judgment of God. Therefore, I will leave President Muhammadu Buhari uh, to the judgment of man, which is the judgment of Nigerians, and the judgment of history, and of course, ultimately, the judgment of God. It is not my mandate with a passing judgment on Muhammadu Buhari. Well, that much has been said for the outgoing administration, what he did and what he failed to do. I have live in the studio with me, as I promised, a gentleman to the core, and of course, a political gladiator. I guess the background of each and every one of us informs our dispositions, and the disposition I see in him is that he understands something very much lacking in Nigeria's political space, that people that are called public office holders, they seem to fail to understand what it means, that they hold office in trust for and on behalf of the people. They are not emperors, they are not kings, and they are not lords. With me in the studio live this afternoon, as I promised you, is of course the man everyone calls Bibiri, Honorable Abayomi Fagbero. You're most warmly welcome to our studio this afternoon.
Thank you so much for having me once again. Thank you so much, sir.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Yes, sir.
Today is the 28th. We're all Nigerians, irrespective of party. And as a Nigerian, we're all stakeholders in this Nigerian project. If you ask some, they will say there's no Nigerian dream. I do not understand that. Each and every one of us is even entitled to dream on behalf of Nigeria.
Absolutely.
And then, move in that direction. Tomorrow, the governor of Oyo State, re-elected for another term of 4 years, will be taking office at the national level. Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be taking office. Of course, somebody will be exiting. In as much as I do not want to, he's done his bit, but we are compelled to, that's why we have history. That's why they say when an elder stumbles, he looks back.
Absolutely.
When a young man stumbles, he looks ahead. And on that basis, I will ask, looking back 8 years, for the administration of Muhammadu Buhari, what are your thoughts in a few words?
Well, thank you so much again for having me on this program. In my own little research and what I see in the past 80 years, I see that history will judge the present, the outgoing, if I can use that word terminology, President Muhammadu Buhari. To be fair and to be candid, even though we are not in the same party, I believe he's a wonderful citizen, he's a wonderful gentleman, and I know he meant well for Nigeria as a whole. I also will, some of the things that was done over these 8 years, there's a lot of good initiatives that was put in place. I'm not a politician that will come to the radio and be playing politics. There's a lot of things they can do better, but I know from the core of who President Muhammadu Buhari is, I know he meant well. But sometimes the Yoruba people always say, there's a little to what one person can do. But some of the things that was done during his administration, there's a lot of projects that went on during these 8 years. The railway, the refinery is another one, Dangote refinery. There's a lot of initiatives that I know they meant well, they meant to change a lot of things, and a lot in the IT sector as well. But I will leave President Muhammadu Buhari for history to judge. But there's a lot of areas, if I want to be frank too, that I know they can do a better job.
Yes. Like I said, maybe just before you came in, they say there are three judgments: the judgment of man, the judgment of history, and the ultimate one, which is the judgment of God. So we leave that to historians who are critical in history. And Bola Ahmed Tinubu will be taking office. He won the election by 8 million votes out of 28 plus 7 plus 6. I mean, that's not a huge mandate, as it were. But Nigerians elected him.
Absolutely.
We have had closer margins anyway. I mean, I remember the Kennedy-Nixon election. The margin was a lot closer than that. And of course, we know the records left by J.F. Kennedy. Considering the fact that Bola Ahmed Tinubu said during the campaign that becoming Nigeria's president has been his lifetime desire and ambition. And considering the fact that somebody told me that, do you understand Bola Ahmed Tinubu's mandate? I said, give me an insight. He said his mandate is not necessarily to take Nigeria to the promised land. That his mandate is to take Nigeria out of Egypt. Not necessarily to the promised land. I said, give me a better understanding. I said, his mandate is to lay a foundation for the future of Nigeria. In laying that foundation, and with the expectations, hopes, and aspirations of Nigeria, what will be the core areas he has to lay a foundation?
Well, first of all, I will talk about our youth. Because the youth are the bedrock rather, of our nation. And a lot of emphasis needs to be laid on how to improve the life and well-being of the youth of Nigeria. Education needs to be one of the first priority of this administration. From the kindergarten, nursery school, from homes to secondary school, and then to our institutions. I believe we need to pay more attention to education more in our nation. And then also, we need to be able to compete in the global market, even in the area of education. I've been privileged to travel a lot around the world while I was in the U.S. Navy. We've seen what a lot of civilized countries, what they did to their educational system and what is working for them. What I notice in our way of learning over here, our education system, is that most of the things that we use, they are outdated. The Yoruba people always say, "Chupeti ayibanji, kama bawayi." The way, the challenges that we had while we are growing up in school is completely different from the challenges the children of today have. We don't have internet when we are growing up. We don't have YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and all that.
And AI.
Yes, sir. But the children of today and the way, my daughter, I mean, I have 4 children, 2 boys and 2 girls. Yeah, they go to school in the United States, but anytime I look at their curriculums, I see the way the teachers, the way they train them, some of the things that they do in school, how they pick children from their childhood and see potentials in them and make sure they stay in that path and they nurture them. I mean, there's so much that we can do. But thank God for the kind of governor that we have in Oyo State right now, for what he has done to education in Oyo State. I believe, I always say this, we can always do better.
Yeah.
But we are better than where we used to be. And if I'm given the opportunity one day to be one of the peoples and the movers and shakers of this nation, there's a lot of areas that I want to visit. There's a lot of things that I want to implement. There's a lot of things I would love to do. We need to go to that's in the area of education, because I don't want to go too far ahead of myself. Now, other things that I know, the incoming president, President Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, needs to really concentrate on the area of security. I believe the budget of some of these things that I'm mentioning needs to be increased. Our uniformed men and women, when I use the word security, I'm not just talking about the Army, the Navy, or the Air Force. I'm actually talking about the Amotekons.
Yeah. And each and every one of us.
Exactly.
It's everybody's business.
Because security is not just for the uniformed men, but security is for, like you rightfully said, for everybody. See something, say something.
Like our governor said.
Absolutely. So I believe in the area of security, we really need to buckle up and make sure people's life and property are well protected. That people can come back and really believe and say that I'm a Nigerian, that I'm covered under the constitution of this great country. Another area is the area of agriculture. The Yoruba people say, "Biba kuro ninu ishe bushe." I think this coming administration needs to invest very, very well in the area of agriculture. We shouldn't be depending on too much on oil. Before we discover oil, there's agriculture, there's cocoa, there's cashew. There's a lot of things that we used to do, and these are cash crops.
And the groundnut pyramid is kind of there.
Absolutely. And I believe that if the new administration help the states and the federal government to make it compulsory for our even our children while they are young to learn more about agriculture, to know that is the foundation and is the strength that we need to be able to move this nation forward, even globally. My governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde, went to London recently, and most of the things they discussed there's other sector that they mentioned some few things, but in the area of agriculture, it concentrated so much in that area because your state have a lot of land.
Look at the landmass of Okyogun.
Exactly. So,
Huge.
And he knows that if Oyo State will need to move to look like London, the area of agriculture, we need to do more work in that area, and that is exactly the reason why it's tapping into that area.
We have comparative advantage.
Absolutely. So, in the area of agriculture, and then most of our agricultural institutions, we need to give them the tools needed to be able to train our youth, so that, and then we make agriculture attractive to the youth. A lot of them think farming. I am a farmer, little in my own little way, but it's something that I'm thinking of actually investing in and getting into. My father was an agric engineer. And but I chose not to go in his. I was a U.S. Navy officer. I was an IT specialist by profession. But I know the foundation and the basic principles of farming because it taught us from home. We have a small garden during Operation Feed the Nation. So my father used to work for Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources since then. So he doesn't play with anything with agriculture. So. In the area of agriculture, I believe the government needs to make sure they increase the budget and train our youth and help the farmers to be able to, even to put subsidy in helping the farmers to sell their produce. I think that would definitely help them. Then in the area of in the area of health, sometimes it burdens me. when I see most of our elected officials going overseas for treatments, I think it should be mandated that none, we can start from there, of the government officials, that if anything happened to them, they should be treated in this nation. I believe
President,
the President Tinubu should make sure they pay good attention to the sector, the health sector, and make sure that we have well equipped and modernized health facilities in Nigeria that can address every problems or situations that our people have in Nigeria. There's a lot of things that I can talk about. There's a lot of areas that I can talk about. The global market, there's a lot of inputs. There's a lot of things that I can talk about to assist them, even this present administration, in moving the economy of Oyo State and also Nigeria forward.
Yes,
Yeah.
and in fact, at the federal level, you have touched on fundamentals, the major pillars,
Absolutely.
so that Nigeria will set out of Egypt.
Amen.
Yes, we get up to. Let's get closer home because home is home.
Yes.
And this is home.
Absolutely.
Now, the people of Oyo State re-elected Engineer Oluwaseyi Makinde with even a wider margin than he got when there was a coalition. Seyi Makinde was saying, yes, there is a coalition, but my coalition is with the people of Oyo State, the artisans, the pepper seller, the civil servants.
The people, the grassroots.
It looks like it turned out to be true that is a real coalition that you need. It isn't. Look, real time. About a fortnight before the elections held, about a week before the election was to be held and was postponed, there was palpable tension that it might be so close. Some were thinking that, politicians, as it were, ganged up, endorsements, and the Godfathers go and do it like we used to do it, and all of that. And then on election day, by noon, we knew where that. And I was telling somebody who, said, what I'm seeing as scandalous margins, that if elections are to be won and lost, these margins are, a little bit embarrassing. How did that happen?
Well, I was there, so I know some of the things that actually transpired. Well, Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde is an awesome man. Let me use that terminology. Is closer to the people than ever before. When you do the needful, the people are not dumb. They know who is doing good and who is not doing good. Like he always say, that he doesn't have Godfather, but he has God the
Father.
The Father. And when you have God the Father behind you, well, I think you should rest. Because he's the creator of everything. But he has done exceptionally well compared to the previous administration. Or who do we want to compare him with? Look in all the areas. The foundational, the 4 years, let me to 1.0.
Let me talk about more about this confidence. Because I spoke to quite a number of people.
Okay.
Because I had to do it because it's my job. Got to feel the pulse of the people.
Okay.
And the people on the ground, the real people.
Absolutely.
A few of them, I remember, told me pointedly, said, look, this man, this is what he did. Some of them told me that, look, during COVID, the man just said, leave people of Oyo State alone, don't lock them up. I said, the man said, that one alone. They were just saying, that they were touched, directly.
Absolutely.
And I said, and everywhere I went, they said, forget it, forget it, forget it. I said, is it going to be that easy?
But
How did he get to that level of relationship with the people on the ground?
if you take care, I forgot the name of that principle, but it's a psychological principle. If I remember that, I'll talk about it a little bit later. When you're able to meet the basic need of the people, there's a chain of that particular need. One of the first things is that to be able to get to security is not even the first thing. It's to be able to
Yeah.
get something to eat.
Yeah.
People's salary, government employee, are paid on the 25th of every month. The previous administration, it wasn't so. When those people are paid, the farmers, the market women,
That's a ripple effect.
the tailors, like you rightfully said, the ripple effect of them buying stuff, it helps the economy, and it reached the grassroots, the lowest level of people. When we are able to do that, I know the good people of Oyo State. They are very smart people. They know what is going on. They know who is working for them. Engineer Seyi Makinde is a servant of the people, not the servant of the leaders. He's a servant of the people, not the servant of the leaders. And that is the tug war that we had some few days before this previous election. The Baba Sokpes against the grassroots, the people. This man has dedicated, he said something. I was at the Thanksgiving service they'd had for him at Pastor Bishop Wale Oke's church this morning.
Sword of the Spirit or something.
Yes, this morning. And he was mentioning some few things, and I was just laughing looking at him on the stage. Some of the things he was talking about this morning, about some of the things they've done. He mentioned what you just mentioned. He mentioned what you said some few minutes ago about what happened in his first 1 year in office. The first 6 months is like he doesn't have a clue what is going on. There's no money, no nothing. So he has to learn his way. A lot of people say he has never been a counselor before. He has never been a party chairman or chairman, but that is an unexperienced politician. But he was able to study the system for 6 months. And then just before he could say, I think I have an idea what is going on with this sector, COVID hit.
Oh yes, COVID hit.
We were in it for almost a year.
COVID hit.
And then a lot of people were struggling because the back rock of Oyo State is those market women, those artisans, those mechanics and all. So
Who make daily bread.
Absolutely. If they don't go to work, they cannot eat. And this governor understands that basic rule that people's life, people has to eat. That is the reason why he allowed what happened, and it worked exceptionally well for the good people of Oyo State. So the best way for our people, like I said, Oyo State, people of Oyo State are very smart people. They are loyal people. If you take care of them, guess what? They will take care of you when the time is. And that's exactly what they did for Engineer Seyi Makinde during this past election.
I remember very well during the campaign, I kept telling people, because of course my job to watch what happens. I remember I told people, I said, this man you want to elect, that was in 2019. I said, well, if you elect this man, he's not going to be your run-of-the-mill politician. He's not somebody you will run to with political tales and will jump. I said, don't forget, his background is not just engineering. It is precision engineering. He will ask you questions.
He works with data, facts, principles.
That has created a problem in court. Because we have to put it in the court. between him and the politicians. You know, I mean, when I say politicians now, I mean those who introduce themselves that, what do you do? I'm a politician. You won't introduce yourself like that.
Absolutely.
You have a second address. You have a first address.
Absolutely,
actually.
yes.
Because, even Obafemi Awolowo said, law is my profession.
Yes.
Politics is my vocation. Now, a problem developed between him and politicians. And he chose against, you know, political wisdom. He chose to stick with the people rather than servicing the political elite. I remember somebody told me a scenario. He said one politician said, Oga, all these places you go, we should be going with you. So the man said, why not come with me? And the politician said, you'll be making logistics available. He said, the government said, where will I be getting logistics to be made available? Where will I get the logistics?
Okay.
From government purse or I mean, from my own purse? So the man understood, and that was the end of the conversation. Now, during the presidential primaries, the Governors Forum, they decided that they were going to support the Southern president. His party did not produce a presidential candidate from the South. And the governor said the people of our state should vote for equity and unity and all of that, which the people understood to mean that they should not vote for the candidates of his party. And of course, the National Assembly candidates of his party lost quite some ground.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, I will say, what happened in 2019? How many House of Reps did the PDP win? But politicians capitalized on that.
Yes.
And it looked like they tied, you know. And even his party members, big-time party members, were saying, during the governorship election too, they will vote for national unity and equity. And it seemed the tide was rising against him. How did he weather that storm?
Well, you have to realize, you just mentioned that too some few minutes ago. Engineer Seyi Makinde, he works with data and facts and principles. He never once mentioned that people should not vote for the presidential candidate.
It is implied to you and I know.
Exactly. That's right. But he mentioned what you said, like, you want people to vote for equity.
And national unity.
And national.
Which his own party's candidate did not represent.
What actually transpired in the last election?
That was bold. That was not politically judicious. That was a near suicidal political decision.
We have to realize too that politics is a game.
And I remember I said on the program that if it will cost him his own political aspiration, so be it, in the interest of the people.
Let me be honest with you.
Why?
I joined PDP just mainly because of Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde. Because we have this, there's so much similarity in the way we think and do things. The way he decided to, what he did, is not looking just for himself, but it's looking at the long-term effect of the decisions that he made or they make. You know, the G. And then also, there's one thing I learned from him too, because as a politician, I'm still a baby. There's a lot of things I'm learning as we move forward. It's loyalty. If a man can say, if it cost me the seat, but I will not digress from my integrity, I will make sure that I stand tall to the power at be, no matter what happens. That says a lot about the governor himself. I also believe that the politics in Nigeria is changing. The people, I think we are getting to an era that even parties might not mean so much, but the antecedent and the result of the actual candidates. Because we saw that in this past election. So, politics is a game of it's a game of numbers as well, and also interest. I firmly believe I wasn't there when they're having the discussion, but I believe the governor made some personal decision, and he made those decisions based on the status of what is going on in our nation now, and he made the best decision for the good people of Oyo State. Because in this present administration, you know, the coming president is not from PDP, but APC will be our presidential, will be our president now.
It has become a win-win situation for him.
Exactly. And guess what?
He's here, he's there.
But what would
For
that
the
be?
people of Oyo State.
Exactly. But what would even though when he fired the shots, we don't know what
People ran for
exactly,
cover. People
But
ran for cover.
it means that the logic and then the decisions that he make, and then also he has God's backing.
And the people, even party members, were scared. That this man, where is he taking
Do
us?
you know the battles I went through during the past election? Even because I have my own groups.
Yeah, your constituency.
A lot of them are telling me I should mention Atiku's name. That is our presidential candidate. I was like, I can't say my leader is the governor of this state and is our leader. Where he goes, guess what? That is, except if it's something that I know is going to destroy the people of Oyo State. Then I will say, because I have integrity. I'm not going to play with my integrity. Politics can sit down, but I will speak the truth. That is just the kind of leader that I am. But I knew that he made that decision because
Beyond personal interest.
Exactly, because of the interest. Not even of the one that we all the personality and the big people or the rich. He made those decisions because of the people in the grassroots, the lower level, the underprivileged people. That's some of the reason why he makes those powerful decisions.
One senior citizen that I am quite close to, and of course is a political gladiator, close to the man. I said, you people, these politics that you are playing. He said he has spoken to the governor. The man too was worried. He said he has spoken to the governor like 3 times. He said the governor told him, he said, hey, Bob, am I worried? He said, this wicked man will put you in trouble. He said, He said, leave me alone with him. If we can say 1,000 words, me I say 2 words. Why do you have to say? And and he is the only one that survived. All others lost their elections. Senatorial beat.
Exactly.
Well, Solutions 93.9 FM is the station, and of course the show this afternoon is Pendulum. I have live in the studio with me Honorable Abayomi Fagbemi. He is very well known to you as Bibiri. Yes, the conversation is about Nigeria. I call it the land of our forebears. I tell people that I was born and raised as a patriot. It is in my DNA. There is nothing I can do about it. It is too late. You can join the conversation. We're talking about Nigeria, or Nigeria land. So, anybody select because we operate within this country.
Absolutely.
My immediate senior sister, I was like, she's lived in UK for 35 years. They left during the second wave of, it used to be brain drain before the jackpots.
Okay.
And I said, look, if I leave this country, Simba mi ò ní ibi tí èmi bá ń gbélé mi máa ń wà mi ò ní wẹ̀yìn wò mọ́ you that come
Yeah, come
I won't look back so let me just leave me here and I come over there once in a while if I will not look back so join the conversation Nigeria lawa Oyo State lawa Engineer Seyi Makinde will be taking office tomorrow for his second term in office 4 years gbogbo ìtàn ti ṣe àti tí wọ́n tún ṣèlérí páwọn máa ṣe
Agbára Ọlọ́run.
2 more added to the 4 pillars tí wọ́n ti sọ ní ọdún mẹ́rin àkọ́kọ́ because mo fẹ́ kẹ́ mọ̀ kíní yẹn wà online o kò fi ṣe gbọ́rọ̀ campaign o so that in terms of we can be asking àti èlé print ẹ̀ jáde ká wá sọ pé okay ó ti ṣe léyìí ó sọ pé ó máa ṣe léyìí ẹ̀sà àjọ lè máa ṣe léyìí you know it will be on air once in a while yeah so that kò kí n ṣe pé ọ̀rọ̀ tí wọ́n sọ tá a ṣe máa wá lórí YouTube pé wọ́n sọ there is a paper there is a document the first one tán ṣe accelerated roadmap to accelerated development your state the one they call Omi Tuntun 1.0
1.0 exactly
and then there is a 2.0
sustainability.
sustainability there's 2 things now solid minerals development of solid minerals and tourism we're going to be talking about those 2 so you can join the conversation sorry 0909 888 9939 Mark Wile 0909 888 9939 second line tell you question is 0912 222 2939 I will repeat that second number 0912 222 2939 Solutions 93.9 FM is the station and of course conversation is about you and I ó kàn wá ó kàn yín náà kò yọ yín sílẹ̀ gbogbo ìtàn ti ṣe àti ìtàn náà máa ṣe and even báwo náà ṣe fẹ́ ṣe ìgbà náà fẹ́ ṣe kí ni what are your hopes as Muhammadu Buhari leaves office whatever tí President Buhari ṣe tí ò ṣe dáadáa ìyẹn ti lọ nìyẹn
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
ìyẹn ti lọ
You have to be
nìyẹn
accountable
that
now.
is history now
Yeah.
we look
Take
ahead
responsibility, yes.
we look ahead Bola Ahmed Tinubu òun ni àgbélébù Nàìjíríà bọ́ sí lọ́rùn báyìí
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
òun ni wọ́n máa pè láàárọ̀ lọ́sàn-án lálẹ́ sí
Lágbára Ọlọ́run.
Tinubu
Kò dẹ̀ ṣe excuse from day one.
kí ló kan Nàìjíríà ń pè ìbò ló jáde wá kó
Àwọn no kọ̀.
àwọn ló jáde wá sọ owó ló kàn that's what makes it more serious èmi ló kàn yes Oyo State 4 pillars security, education, growing the economy, and
Education,
health. Yes.
Hello.
Ekason.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Your name and location, please.
Can you hear me?
Very much. Loud and clear.
I can't hear you.
Loud and clear. So, 4 pillars. Security. I honestly, yes, there was a period of serious crisis. Serious crisis. I remember Oyo State, there's a particular newspaper. For months, on a daily basis, Oyo State was on their front pages. It will be there with one corner. Oyo State.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you loud and clear. Your name and location, please. Sir?
My name is Abi, calling from Oyo, Federal College of Education, Oyo.
Your name or your name, sir?
Federal College of Education.
Your own name, sir?
My name is Abioye.
Abioye, okay, sir. Your contribution.
Okay. My own condition is that when we are talking about good leader and a good position, Margaret and support of good leader. Although I'm a student too, but you can't predict a governor Seyi Makinde. That's how politics should be.
Can you say you cannot predict him?
You can't predict governor Seyi Makinde. That's how politics should be. You know its way. It's an example of a good politician.
You should not be predictable.
It's unbelievable, yes, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's a positive. That's a positive you mean, Abi?
Yes.
All
I
right.
like the politics. I love the politics.
All
Even
right.
though I'm a political person, if I want to be a politician, I regulate his character.
Wow. Wow.
Thank you, sir. That's
Thank you. Abiy from FC Oyo. Thank you for your contribution. He says the engineer Makinde is unpredictable.
Unpredictable.
And
Yes.
he says if he's to be a politician, he will emulate his style.
Well, I believe the reason why they say he's unpredictable is that he thinks logically before he makes the decision. He just doesn't do things anyhow. And you know, a lot of our politicians, some of them are going. You already know what they're trying to do, but
And you know why they're going there.
exactly. So, but him, and he has studied the systems well. He knows that you can't just tell everything to the people, to some of those people, or else they probably can corner you somewhere. So I think that's some of the reason why he operates the way he operates. But he meant well. He meant well for the. I mean, we see from the result of what is going on in Oyo State right now. So.
I told people before, about 6 months, no, 1 year before the election, I said, if the man got elected a second time, that's trouble for politicians in Oyo State. I'm a student of history. I said, if this man gets elected a second time, on the basis of the way he is operating now, I said that way back then, I said that will be trouble for politicians in Oyo State because he will be putting politicians. I didn't even know it was going to happen this way, honestly. That this man will put politicians professionally, he will put them out of business.
Absolutely.
Now we have the beavers as the umpire to compound the problem. Because when one of the others said, let them go and do it the way they were doing it, they were unable to do it because the umpire,
Exactly.
the beaver, is not, I don't even think INEC is the umpire, it is the beavers.
Absolutely.
Because if they were able to do it the way they were doing it,
They would have done.
They would have succeeded.
And they will have.
Now, is this a permanent thing? Is it looking like a permanent thing, or is it just an engineer Seyi Makinde phenomenon? Is it sustainable?
Absolutely, and this is one of the areas too that we need to give kudos to the present, the outgoing
The
administration.
President Muhammadu
Muhammadu
Buhari,
Buhari.
yes,
I mean,
yes.
young, not too young to rule.
Yeah,
That's another. This beavers thing right now.
Yeah,
That they do. I mean,
technology.
people did not talk about this. All these things happen in this man's administration.
Give it to him.
So this
Give it to
definitely
Buhari.
will help democracy in Nigeria
Yeah.
and in all the other states in Nigeria. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Yeah.
Now, this pattern that we just saw in Oyo State, in spite of the Godfathers, the Godfathers did not succeed. It looks like the people that really matter now. Is that sustainable?
It's sustainable. My prayer is that Governor Seyi Makinde can only do 8 years.
Oh yeah.
So, but for things to work in the favor of the good people of Oyo State, my prayer to God Almighty is that He Himself will choose the next David for the good people of Oyo State that can follow suit in the footsteps of the present Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde. And he himself, my prayer is that he will consult God and then he will make sure that he grooms someone.
Yeah. Succession.
Succession, exactly. That will be able to build, not pull back, but build on and even make better, if possible, times 10 of what he has done. That's my prayer for this, because in the way the governor is going right now, the accelerated development, and then if we find someone too that can go even in a multiple pace, Oyo State, like they think is maybe we're just saying it. Oyo State can turn to Benny. I mean, we lead in every area, and I think Engineer Seyi Makinde is putting Oyo State back to his original leadership position. So, but I believe what will make things much better for the people of Oyo State is to make sure we have another governor, if not better, but at least like
It has to be
the
better.
present governor.
I will not. Tinubu has been the reference point of grooming leadership succession plan. I would not use Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a reference point for so that people would not say. I mean, I go to Borno State, Shetima, the incoming vice
That's what
president.
it is.
He picked Babagana Zulum. He picked him as his successor strictly on the basis of merit. And when the man got into office, Shetima stood out of his way totally. And they asked, why did you choose this man? He said, he's not a politician. He's an academic. He said he put him in a strategic ministry and made him to head, the rehabilitation, and entrusted him with about 10 or 7 billion naira to rehabilitate schools, after the devastation of Boko Haram.
Boko Haram, yes.
He said he investigated the man. He said the man was driving maybe a Peugeot 505 or something, and he was still driving it. Not that he was only still driving it, you could pretend that he set up, security agencies to investigate the man. The man did not have a dime anywhere. So he chose him on the basis of competence, succession plan. And not just that he chose him, he stayed out of his way. No disruption. No, this one must be commissioner. This one must be this. And I get this monthly, the way. So, on the basis of that, and I think Engineer Seyi Makinde owes himself because of sustainability, and he owes the people of Oyo State.
Absolutely.
And isn't it now that he should start,
Grooming someone.
grooming
Absolutely. And I believe he knows what is at stake if he did not do something like that. Let me use one example. I hate to put this out there like that, but like I said, politics is an ideology of man, not of God, and it's only God that appoints leaders. During this past election, this is just some small incident that happened around my area. We were called as leaders because I'm from Ward 12, Ibadan Southwest local government, and I'm one of the leaders in the Ward 12. And also, I was an aspirant, tried to contest for Federal House of Representatives to represent Ibadan Southwest and Northwest Federal Constituency. So when we are preparing for the election, a day before the election, some of the leaders were called to organize and figure out how we're going to win the election. Some of the things, the logistics, some of the few things that goes into. So we're given some logistics to carry out the election, and there's some amount of money that were given to help the logistics, maybe for foods and making sure things run smoothly.
Canopies.
So the leaders were given money to take care of those things. So I'm one of the leaders that are privy to. I was able to. They asked me to manage 44 polling units. There are 133 polling units in my ward. I believe my ward has the largest polling unit in Oyo State. 133 polling. Out of that, in my ward, Ward 12. They gave me, under my jurisdiction, they gave me 44 polling units out of that 133 polling units.
That's a thought to you.
And this is my first time managing situations like that. And I was given this assignment in less than 24 hours. Even some of the leadership in that area that I was asked to handle, I don't know some of them. But I do know turn that assignment down, because I'm one of those people that, I think logically, I look at time, I'm a project manager, I know there's something, because based on time, we don't have the time. So they are giving me some certain amount of money to run that election in those 44 polling units. I called the leaders that I know. I asked some of them to find more leaders that we can work together, because we don't have the time. The money given, allocated for all those 44 polling units, I gave it to the leaders. I did not take a dime from the money that were given to us.
That's
eventually,
not the way it goes.
eventually,
No. That's not the way it goes. If you are giving 10 naira, huh?
some people have. What I'm trying to say is this. Thank God, I'm not a rich man, but I'm blessed. And my daddy always says something that ìbùkún Olúwa ni mo ní là tí kì í fi làálàá pẹ̀lú ẹ̀.
That lala is the dangerous part.
And don't get me wrong. Ibi tí ọba ti ń ṣe lèèyàn jẹ, I understand that fact too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the money allocated to work and do something needs to go. That's where the reason why I'm telling you this is that I don't play with loyalty. I'm an ex-military man.
Oh, yeah.
So, and I chose Engineer Sheyi Makinde as a leader. Because of him, I joined PDP. I ran under YDP in 2019 for Federal House of Representatives. And the reason why I did not run under that party again is because it's one of those parties that would do away with, that the government said they should do away with. But I see something good in this man. That's the reason why I told my people to support him in 2019, and we did the same thing in 2023. So I'm walking his path. And then also, you rightfully said that he needs, if he hasn't started that yet, but I know he's a very smart man, he's a smart governor. I know he probably will have been looking around right now, trying to find someone, or if you look around him, in this administration, he has more youth around him more than any other governor. He has more women in his administration more than any other governor. Even he has place for people with disability in his administration more than any governor ever. So I know that this man knows what he's doing. So I know that he has an idea of probably some people, and then I know it's actually a good time to, if he doesn't. I mean, I've never asked him this question. If he doesn't have that, I think this will be a very good time to start to groom someone. There's a lot of youth around him. Well, I'm a youth too. And then I don't know where God has taken me. I'm just going to be honest with you. Rome was not built in a day. Even, I hate to say it, I see myself as the governor of the state one day. I don't know how
why not?
I don't know how it will happen.
Why not?
But I know God has something very big in stock for me. And like I said, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. Yeah. And but I I so much believe in this present administration, believe in this governor, that he has been making some right choices, but I believe even in this 2.0, we'll see a lot of great things for the good people of Oyo State. And I know our people will even enjoy a better dividends of democracy in this Omitutun 2.0.
Security is key, because that is the number one thing that even the Constitution of Nigeria 1999 as amended prescribes, that governance is basically about the welfare of the people.
Absolutely.
And of course, it must be in a safe and secure environment.
Yes,
and coming to Oyo State, because this is home. There was a lot of challenge. It was really, really tough. I remember that particular period. Every day, there was this particular newspaper that had bad news about Oyo State. This happened there, this happened there. Sure. And then, of course, the novel idea of course, the Southwest was challenged. Mm-hmm. And then the novel idea of Amotekun came. Mm-hmm. And, of course, this collaboration with other security agencies. Even if maybe a few days before the election, after the election, distributed vehicles, brand new all over again. What's your assessment of the security situation and what needs to be done, especially security at the local level?
All right. Without the federal, it's going to be very tough for the local level to work in the favor of the people. Let me put it this way. Because of the insecurity that we have in the entire nation, coming from the administration that is the outgoing administration right now, the ripple down effect of what is going on in the federal is some of the leaflets is what happened to Oyo State. I believe in local police. It's very, very, very important.
Especially with where you come from.
Absolutely. I mean, I live in an area called Dumfries in Virginia, Northern Virginia. It's like maybe 20 minutes away from Washington, 20 to 25 minutes away from Washington, D.C. There's federal police, there is state police, and there is county police, and then even mini county, province police department. Reason being, if you are a policeman in an area and you are not local to the area, how will you know what goes on in that area? That is the reason why the initiative about the Amotekun is something very, very good to our security. And I believe this administration too, we have to give kudos to our governor in terms of supporting the police department here in Oyo State and also equipping Amotekun, giving them the tools they need to be able to help us eliminate some of these issues that we have in the area of insecurity. If I have to give this administration, I'm talking about Engineer Seyi Makinde, but when he first came in, like I said, he has to learn a lot of few things.
Yeah,
I mean,
so new.
And then you have to realize too, there's an outgoing administration. The little thing I've learned in just my little time in the politics right now, I know most politicians use some certain faction when it comes to the good boys and the bad boys. So, some of the things that he has to learn very quick when he came to power is noting who are those boys. And then what he was able to do was to be able to curb and go to the nucleus of where the problems is. I'm talking about insecurity. Amotekun, local police, equip them with the resources that needed. And then we can, I mean, you live in Oyo State, so you know where we used to be when it comes to the area of security. But I always tell them, this is my area of expertise. I'm an ex-military man. We can always do better. And I've mentioned this multiple times, even to the present administration, that there are few things that we can incorporate in the area of security that if I'm privy and I have the opportunity to advise this present administration, even on the federal level, there's still a lot of things that Nigeria didn't have one submarine.
You're talking about submarine?
We didn't have one carrier.
We're talking about a carrier?
And we're talking about, some people are calling us.
Let me tell you, the frigate that we have came into operation in 1980, and that is NNS Arado. I think it was refitted just a few years back. It became a mini barracks so many years ago. So, we'll go on this short commercial break. We'll be back.
I will lift up mine eyes to the hills. My help comes from the Lord. Experience God's mighty power, working miracles, transforming lives and destinies through His anointed servant, Prophet Taiwo Ojo, at 72 Hours with God from Friday 9th to Sunday 11th of June. Theme: Help from Above. Join us with your loved ones to receive the help you need from God. Every struggle and sorrow shall be terminated by God's supernatural presence and power at Mercy Camp Osengiri Ibadan from Friday 9th to Sunday 11th of June. Ministering Prophet Taiwo Ojo and other anointed ministers of God. Music ministrations by Bukola Akínyadé Ṣẹ̀wẹ̀lẹ̀ Jésù, Bísí Aláwìyé Àlùkò, Elijah Akíntúndé Ọlọ́run Sọ̀bẹ́, Gbénga Adénúgà, Bridget Adénúbí, Àtinúkẹ́ Ẹ̀rí Májẹ̀mú, and many others. Please note, we shall be rounding off early Monday morning. For more information, please call 0902-011-3558. 72 Hours with God. Come, don't miss it.
Now midnight you dey so. You did receive one important call. Now so you just hear.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Sharp, you don't begin check your wallet. But to cash no come deal. How e for be if you go fit recharge without cash and dem still sama you bonus on top your recharge anytime? Your credit don nearly finish? No wahala. Just download my MTN NG app to recharge your MTN line. Abi make you dial star 904 hash to buy airtime straight from your bank account to fiam any day, anytime, and enjoy 15% awoof bonus on top any amount wey you recharge. Na so e be o, very easy. MTN, wetin we dey do today?
Olóyè Ṣódẹkẹ́ ká má purọ́ ilé ìyá yìí gbà ẹ kú ìnáwó ẹ ṣe adúlé adé kárí orílẹ̀-èdè wo gan-an lẹ ti kó àwọn furnitures wọ̀nyí wọlé. ọ̀dọ̀ Johnson èrè mo ti ra àwọn l'Íbàdàn bíi ojúlówó furniture làwọn ń tà lọ́dọ̀ tiwọn. èyí tá a jẹ ilẹ̀ lè ní a máa tọ́wò àmọ́ ohun tá a bá jẹ tó dùn mọ́ni ṣe ni láǹfààní kò sẹ́ni tó lè ṣí wa lẹ́nu ń bẹ̀. bẹ́ẹ̀ gẹ́lẹ́ gan lọ̀rọ̀ rí pẹ̀lú Johnson A Nigeria Enterprises ilé ìtajà furniture tó ń léwájú ní Nàìjíríà. àwòdàmẹ́nu àga ìjókòó àwọn lọ́lá sofas lóríṣiríṣi pẹ̀lú royal oak and marble dining sets executive office furniture lónírúurú banquet furnitures bed and dressing mirror tó fi mọ́ kitchen cabinet bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń fẹ́ gbogbo ẹ̀ ojúlówó imported ni furniture lọ́dọ̀ Johnson A Nigeria Enterprises ní shop number AA 18-20 railway shopping complex off Aleshiloye market àti 8A-11 railway shopping line by Alalubosa junction Iyaganku railways crossing Ibadan. Telephone 080-2303-0550 tàbí 070-6225-2649. Johnson A Nigeria Enterprises ilé ẹrù fáwọn imported furnitures tó kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀.
Nigeria is heading to. Well, that arouses something in me at all times. Which way Nigeria is heading to. And you see, Sonny Okosus did that song 40 years ago.
Wow. Prophet Sonny Okosu.
And is the prophet. That question remains valid till this moment. Which way Nigeria is heading to? What have we done? What have we done with the resources God has given us? How have we managed it? Those who have been managing Nigeria's resources, what are they thinking? And believe you me, if they were thinking, what were they thinking of? Because if anybody's thinking, you are thinking, you are looking back. You are looking at your current location, and you may be looking ahead too. I don't understand what the leadership. When people say acquisition, I ask myself, acquisition to what end? Because there must be an end. Mm-hmm. There must be an end. But it seems we have not gotten it so right. The outgoing president, you may not be able to pin corruption on him as a person. Mm-hmm. I honestly. We must be straightforward about that. You won't be able to pin corruption on him as a president. But the administration, it's just like Shehu Shagari. Shehu Shagari did not have a house in Kaduna. I don't think he even has a house in Sokoto. It was Abacha. Abacha was looking for him. They said he was not in Kaduna, the home of every northern leader. He was not even in Sokoto. Where is he? He's in his village, Shagari village. The house is built as a teacher. In the 50s. That was where he retired to as a president. It was Abacha that built the house for him, I think, in Sokoto. And of course, the man never found it comfortable living there. But the administration he headed, same for, you can't trace, I think it's very difficult to take, but when you preside over an administration that is corrupt and you say you are not corrupt, how do you head an administration that is corrupt and you say you are not corrupt? How can you absolve yourself? What kind of leadership is that? I don't understand. Maybe.
Well, I believe that's one of the things that this incoming president needs to. He needs to assure the people of Nigeria that the systems that we have still works, and that we can make it work. Our judicial system, that when people are sworn in and they take the oath of the office to defend the constitution of this country and to manage the people's affairs, that they are not there to enrich themselves and their family and their families and their children. But looking at the coming administration, I believe the incoming
president.
the president has a lot of work to do.
Does he have the capacity?
Based
And
on,
when I say capacity, I'm not talking about personal capacity.
I believe BAT,
Bola Ahmed
President
Tinubu.
Bola Ahmed Tinubu has the capacity. I believe he has the skills. I believe he has the mental capacity, and I believe he has the people around him that can help him steer the affairs of this union. I believe he can turn things around for this nation. He knows how to bring people together. And what's a leader? A leader is not just somebody that knows everything. A leader is someone that can put people together, have a vision, walk that vision, and execute. It's as simple as ABC. The vision of Nigeria is to make sure we take this country back to its initial stage, that an ordinary Nigerian can be proud that I'm a Nigerian, that green passport, anywhere that we go, that we will be respected, because Nigerians trust me everywhere. We are trailblazers. We are
Great
we are on top of everything that we do. So I believe Bola Ahmed Tinubu has the capacity to take this nation and make this country, Nigeria, great again.
Great again. Yes. Just like one elder statesman told me, what is Bola Ahmed Tinubu's mandate? He said, he may not be the one to take us to the promised land, but definitely his mandate is to take us out of Egypt.
Absolutely.
And of course, Egypt represents slavery. Egypt represents oppression.
Yes.
Egypt represents deprivation and all the negatives. But take us out of Egypt, even if it's not going to take us to the promised land. When you leave Egypt, you know you're out of Egypt.
Absolutely.
And you know you're heading somewhere.
Absolutely.
Promised
Can
land.
build on it, yes.
Then everybody starts working it out together. That means we are in one boat headed somewhere. Not a bad thing. In Oyo State, the two major pillars that Obitutu 2.0 and addition of Obitutu 1.0, solid minerals and tourism. And I said to myself, those are ambitious things. Audacious, I can even add that to it, to embark upon. I say that because there will be no immediate gains. There will be no immediate gains. You got to pull, you got to go and market what you have.
Absolutely.
You got to have solid things to market. In area of tourism, you have to invite people to come and assess. In solid minerals, you got to go procure licenses, bring in partnerships.
Absolutely.
And it's not going to be, why does this man embark on things that are not politically, that's not politically expedient?
That's exactly what we were saying earlier. We have a governor that understands that to bring prosperity to a state, you have to look beyond your terms. And that's the reason why it's very, very important that whoever is going to be taking over from Governor Seyi Makinde have to be someone that is in tune and in line with some of the vision that he has for Oyo State. But we know we have the mineral resources. There's so much to be explored in Oyo State based on the findings. I was watching the program that they did in London. I was supposed to be there, but I couldn't make it for once, and I was on transit to coming back here. There's a particular stone that we have here in Oyo State that the company, Elon Musk, Tesla, some of the things that they're using to make the battery that they use in those cars, some of those, do you know we have that here in Oyo State? So, even though this is not going to be a quick fix or something that we might benefit from instantly, but this is going to be a lot of millions of dollars, investments, absolutely, for most of our youths in
growing the economy.
Growing the economy, not just for your state too, but for Nigeria as a whole. Then, in the area of tourism.
Foreign exchange you're talking about.
Absolutely. In the area of tourism, we have a
foreign
lot of,
exchange.
the same thing. Because
job creation.
Growing
Growing the
economy. And then also, we have a lot of abandoned sites in Nigeria, I mean, in Oyo State too, that I believe, like Ashijire, the Kogusi, or
also those historical, cultural.
We need to go back. Some of the, my wife is Greek. And sometimes when I go to Greece, I go to a place called Asanasis. You will still find some of these 4,000, 5,000 years building and stuff. People come from all walks of life just to look at some stones that are there just because of history. We, the people of Oyo State too, we have histories. We have places. We have things. We have natural things that people can come and just pay visit and Makpo all here. Just this Makpo, the story behind the Makpo. Some people just want to come and look at that. I mean, there's a lot of things we can actually work on, and then I believe there's a lot of money, and also because of the history of this state. The first television station in Nigeria.
A lot of history.
The first radio in Nigeria.
A lot of history.
I mean, so we definitely, so those
first
two.
in Africa.
It's very, very important. I believe tourism and then those mineral resources, if they exploit, we're in the right direction.
Yes, I like that. Yeah. We're in the right direction. As we wrap this up in 30 seconds, a word out there to the people of Oyo State specifically.
I'm just going to urge all the good people of Oyo State to make sure, number one, that they are patient with our Governor Engineer Seyi Makinde, and then to continually support him, because he needs the help of every people, all the good people of Oyo State, to help him succeed in this Omitutun 2.0. It's not just the work of the governor alone. It's our work. And I'm going to admonish all the good people of Oyo State to give that solid support to our governor, Engineer Seyi Makinde.
Well, you heard it straight, as they say, from the horse's mouth. He is not just a political gladiator. I see patriotism in him, but what do you expect? A man that served in the military, he will be nothing but patriotic. It will have been drilled into his DNA to be patriotic. He served in the American Navy, and of course, in Nigeria. He's here to add value. His own bit haven't served elsewhere. He wants to serve here. And he's already serving anyway. He's already serving. Not until you get into public office that you are serving. Well, the good people of Oyo State and the good people of Nigeria, wherever you may be located in this global space, it's a wrap on Pendulum this Sunday, the 28th of May, year 2023, a day before inauguration. I've had with me in the studio live Honorable Abayomi Fagbero, the one everybody calls Bibiri. He's been my guest. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me again.
I wish you All the very best as Engineer
Seyi
Seyi Makinde
Makinde
comes into office for his second time.
Thank you so much. I really
Yes.
appreciate the opportunity.
And I say God bless you all. God bless our union. Bye for now.
Thank you so